Hi, thanks for watching me work problem E823 from page 472 of your book. It's on notes receivable as opposed to accounts receivable. So down here at the bottom you'll see we are doing some transactions for a bank, and they're very typically an organization that would have a lot of notes receivable. People come in, sign a note, leave with cash, and now the bank has the note receivable. So that's what's going on here. So on September 30, Team Bank loaned $94,000 to Kendall Warner, 1 year, 6% note. All right, so these are transactions that can happen with a note. So certainly when you issue the note, right, then interest becomes due and people repay the note. All right. So we'll talk about all those examples, and it's important to understand how interest works. All right, so let's do the first one. Of course, we have our journal here. So the first thing that happens is Kendall Warner takes out a loan, and it's $94,000. So we're doing the books for the bank, right? So we're doing it from the bank's perspective. So that's the note receivable. So on 9/30, we get a note receivable. I'm just going to write Warner because, you know, a bank's going to have a lot of different notes receivable. And it's $94,000. And of course, the bank gives out cash, so their cash goes down. $94,000. All right, so there you go. The bank issued that note receivable, and so now they have the asset note receivable, which increased, and they have less cash, which decreased. All right, so the next thing that would happen is they don't have any payments coming from Kendall until a year goes by, but their year ends on December 31st, so they have to record the interest that they've earned. Even though Kendall hasn't paid them, they have to record that interest, and so that's an interest receivable and some interest revenue, right? So on 12/31, the bank is going to have interest receivable, right? Because they're not receiving it yet. And of course it's interest revenue. How much? Well, here's where we do our calculations. All right. So I'm just going to put a little side note down here for how to do interest. All right. So calculate interest. There's a formula for that. Interest equals principal times the rate times the time. Okay, so we're going to calculate the interest, right? Interest receivable, interest revenue. So interest, I'm just going to abbreviate it as I. Interest equals principal, so the principal is $94,000 times the rate, and of course you have to be told that. Here they tell you it's 6%. So I'm just going to write 0.06 times the time. Now, we know from our lectures that interest is an annual rate, and from reading the book too. Interest is an annual rate. So the time is what part of a year, right? So in this case, it is 3 months, right? So we took it out on September, but September doesn't count, right? Because that's the last day of September. So October, November, December, it's the last day of December. So 3 months, so that would be 3/12 of a year, or you can reduce that to 1/4, or to put it in your calculator, 0.25, right? So 94,000 times 6% times 1/4 of a year is equal to 1410. Okay, 1,410. So that's my interest receivable, and my interest revenue. Because we've earned it, we put the money out there, so the bank has earned the interest revenue. So I equals PRT. You need to memorize that, and they're going to come up a lot, across that a lot. All right, we're going to start doing CDs and things like that. So you'll need to understand how interest works. Probably a lot of you do already, you're finance majors, so probably a lot of you have had a finance class and understand all about interest. That's great. All right, so that's the interest that accrued. So what happens next? Well, the next transaction that would occur would be in September 30th of the next year, right? So this is in 18, this is in 18, so then on 9/30/19, Warner would come in and pay off the loan. All right, so how would he do that? Well, he would come in with a certain amount of cash, which the bank would get, so that's right. So now we're getting our cash back, right? He would repay the interest, right? So this part, right? So we'd collect the interest receivable, right? He owes that, and we'll have some more interest revenue, right? Because this is just 3 months worth. We're going to have 9 more months, so we're going to have some more interest revenue. So we'll have to calculate that amount. And of course, he's going to repay us this note, right? So we'll have note receivable. Right? So we know how much that is. We know that's going to be $94,000, right? And we know how much interest receivable is $1410. What we don't know is the new interest revenue. So that's the same thing, right? So let's do this. I equals principal times rate times time. Remembering that principal is the amount outstanding, $94,000. The rate is still 6%, so I write that as 0.06. And the time now, well, it's been 9 months. The last time we accrued interest was in December, so now they owe January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and August, and September, right? Because it's the end of the month. So 9 months, so that's 9/12, right? Because that's an annual rate. So 94 times 6% times 9/12 of a year is equal to 4230. Guess I just could have multiplied that by 3, huh? All right, so 4230. So Kendall needs to come in here with 1410 for this interest receivable, 4230 from the new interest, and the 94,000 cash that he borrowed. So you add all those up, and they total cash he needs to come in with of $99,640. $99,640. So in this problem, we had a bank issue a note receivable, right? There's a note being issued. We calculated some interest, so we accrued the interest. That's an adjusting entry, by the way. And it's principal times rate times time. And keep in mind, rates are annual, and time is based on what part of the year, right? Then we had him bring in the payment, right? So the cash is the total of the interest we had receivable, the new interest that accrued over the next 9 months, and of course that note still needs to be repaid. All right, we're not going to really work the rest of the problem because this is the only kind of thing you'll need to know how to do. But it works pretty much like anything else. It's just a note receivable instead of an account receivable. All right, thanks for learning something today. We'll see you in the next video.